I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakakadesh. Double honors to the man and to the Holy Spirit that's taught me His truth. And this is gonna be I want to do another reaction video, and to these two brothers you see here, makes really good videos, very inspiring, and I really enjoy watching their content. And I shoot their videos, both of them videos too. A lot of different brothers that I know because I like the way they bring it out. But when they say something that I don't agree with, I still gotta make that known too. Alright, cause this right here, the way they did this one, it comes off as nothing but a lot of confusion. Alright. I know what they was trying to do and the hearts was in the right space, but this still is nothing but confusion the way this video came out. And this is what we left when we left plantation Christianity. Alright. If this was the correct way to look at this, then there would have never been a reason for the Lord to bring us on this journey, for us to leave plantation Christianity. Alright. We could have just stayed where we was. Alright. The Lord brought you on this journey for a reason. Alright. Now, I guess go over and let me get some few scriptures. Alright. This is I'm in the Apocrypha. Alright. I just start with this one. This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, and the law that endures forever. All that keep it should come to life, but such as leave it should die. Alright, and when they were saying, this was going into pretty much the whole book. Alright. The whole book is the book of the commandments of the Lord. Alright. Now, when dealing with grace and liberty, it's a difficult subject, but it's because people try to read too much into grace, too much into liberty. Alright, and it's something that, once I finally came to this truth, it came pretty easy to me. Alright. Like, you receive grace, and let me just start with Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8. Alright. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and not of yourself. It is a gift of Yahweh, not of works, lest any man should boast. Alright, so we are saved through the grace, alright, that Yahweh Shah gave us by dying on that cross and entering into the new covenant. Now, I did a bunch of videos in the past about grace and pretty much how Christianity teaches you to bruise grace. Alright, because what grace is for is that when we was living, not knowing what we was doing, going off, grace is there to give us that hedge and bring us back into the fold. Alright, because we're going to be saved through that grace. Alright. And that is pretty much our great sin. When you didn't know or understand the law, or was taken from the law, that you got grace, that the Lord is going to look over that. Alright. But once you learn what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to do it. And the commandments are written in this book. Yeah, it's spiritual, but it's also written in this book. Alright. Now, this is Galatians chapter 5, verse 13. Alright. For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. Alright. So it's saying don't use liberty to try to get over and just do what you want to do. Alright. Because I know one of the things that the brothers were saying in the video that was just going off. And if you look at things this way, everything would just be complete madness. All right. This is getting into that do as thou will spirit. All right. When he's saying that you get to pick the Sabbath day. No, you do not. You do not get to pick the Sabbath day. All right. The Sabbath day is determined by the moon, which most people know now once you still, and it goes off the new moon, which we call a full moon. The biblical new moon is a full moon, which a lot of brothers don't understand it. But you don't get to pick that. All right, the Lord decided that. All right, and that'll be a lesson for another day. Going into how the so-called full moon is really the biblical new moon, but it's based on it. But when they say you got liberty, what it's doing, the Lord knew we was gonna be in captivity. All right, so you can't choose what day is the Sabbath. But if you can't keep the Sabbath to its fullest because of the situation you in, take for example, I'm a truck driver and I have to work on the Sabbath. All right. So if you can't control what you in, that is the liberty you got because he's giving you room for the fact that you don't have the ability to keep that law. All right. That is what liberty was going into. Not that you got the liberty just to pick any day out the week you want and say it's a Sabbath. If you can't keep the Sabbath, you got a little liberty there. But we do the things that we can do. Like I can restrain from having sex on the Sabbath, so I don't do that. All right. That is how liberty is worked. All right. When it's a situation, something you can't do, you abstain from it. All right. And for all the law is fulfilled in one word. You miss this, that thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. All right. And that is the basis of the law. Right? Love the Lord with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself. And by this, by nature, you usually keep everything that's returned within the Mosaic law. All right. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye not be consume one of another. So pretty much don't bring your brothers down, right? Is what it was saying. Because of the things that they might not have the ability to do. See, the Lord knew we was going into captivity, so he gave us a little playroom, all right? And that is what that liberty is, all right? Not that you have liberty just to decide which laws you're going to keep, but if you're in a position to where you can't keep a law, you got liberty, around it, and that's how I mean everything is spiritual. You know what you can do and what you can't do, all right? And the Lord gives you liberty for that. Grace is for when someone don't understand the law. And that's how we do when we deal with new brothers in this thing, all right? They come in under grace, so you're supposed to deal with them with kid gloves, take them in, show them love, show them kindness, and bring them on into this fold. All right, anyone who sincerely wants to learn. All right, that is what grace is. Grace is for the things that you don't know you're doing wrong, and liberty is for the things you know you do wrong, but you ain't got control of. All right. That is what it meant. It didn't mean you just got liberty to just go make up your own law and I'm gonna go over here and create my own Sabbath. No, that is not what it was talking about. But if you bite in the okay, this is I say then, walk in the spirit, that ye should not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary to one another, so that you cannot do things that ye would. But if ye be led of the spirit, ye are not under the law. Alright? So pretty much you ain't condemned for the things you have no control of, working on the Sabbath. You ain't condemned for that because you are led by the spirit and you're not under the law. That is all it was doing, was giving you grace for the things that you can't control. All right. Now, the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these. All right. Adultery, fornication, unclean, lewdness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, immunes, wrath, strife, sedition, and it just goes on and on about all the things that are wrong in the flesh. All right. But the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness and faith, meekness, and it goes there. Good things. That is what the spirit is. It's fruit of the spirit is. Against such there is no law. All right. So if you're doing things the right way, you know, it's okay that you might not be keeping the law to the T, but you're doing the best, and there is no loss. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affliction and lust. If we live in the spirit, let us also walk in the spirit. Right? So pretty much, you know, let the spirit guide you, but you still keep the laws. And the Lord made plain things known in the scriptures that He wants us to do. All right, and that's what this and that's what these scriptures were for, is to make the things plain known to us that the Lord wants us to be doing. All right, this is Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle, in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whoever therefore should break one of these least commandments, and should teach men so, he should be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever should do and teach them, the same should be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So we are never supposed to teach people to go against the law. All right. And like we bring out all the time, Malachi 3:6. All right. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. So the things that were pleasing to the Lord early on are still the things that are pleasing to the Lord now. All right. The Lord don't change. So the law in the Old Testament still goes forward. The thing that was done away with was the law of sacrifice, because Yahweh was their ultimate sacrifice. All right. So there's no more sacrifice required for sins. And that is what's going to cleanse you from all your shortcomings in the new covenant is that sin. But we are still supposed to strive to keep the law to our best of our ability. And no, we do not have the liberty to just make up the laws as we want. The laws are what the Lord established for us to follow. All right, the Sabbath is based off the new moon, which is a biblical full moon. We can't choose what day is the Sabbath. The Lord chooses it. Now, we don't even have the right to keep the Sabbath the way it's supposed to be kept. And that is where the liberty comes in. All right. This is Romans chapter 10, verse 1. Brother, my heart desires in prayer to Yahweh is for Israel, that they might be saved. So Paul is saying that he's writing, his heart desire was for Israel to be saved. For our burden record, they have a zeal of Yahweh, but not according to knowledge. For they being ignorant of Yahweh's righteousness, in going to establish their own righteousness, and not submit themselves unto the righteousness of Yahweh. For Mashiach is the end of the law, for righteousness to everyone that believes. All right, so this is one of the things that get people confused to thinking that the law is completely done away with. I say Mashiach is the end of the law. All right, for Moses describes the righteousness which is of the law, that the man which does these things should live by them. All right. So Moses describes the righteousness of the law, for the man that does these things should live by them. But the righteousness which is of faith speaks on this wise. Say, not in thy heart who should ascend into heaven. That is to bring a Mashiach down from above. Or who should descend into the deep. That is to bring a Mashiach again from the dead. But what said the word is nay thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart, that is the word of faith which we preach. That if thou should confess with thy mouth the Lord Yahweh and should believe in thy heart that Yahweh had raised him from the dead, thou should be saved. So pretty much, Yahweh Shah is what saves us. All right, this is what all this was getting into. We're not saved by the law. So why do you keep the law? Because the laws are the things that are pleasing to Yahweh. All right, that is why you don't teach against the law, and that's why you don't tell no man to break the law, even though we are not up under the law. Right, we're under grace because we all have violated the law. But through the blood of Yahweh Shah, he has brought us back into this covenant. But we still do not willfully break the law. All right. For the heart of a man that believe unto righteousness with the mouth confessions is made unto salvation. All right. And like I said, it's still certain laws that we are going to still break from time to time because we're in another man's kingdom. All right. That's where that liberty come in. You can't keep the Sabbath the way you want to do. All right. You can't strike affliction from your land for people who was breaking the laws that penalty would have been death. You can't do that. All right, this is not our kingdom. And that is the liberty we get for the things that we cannot do. All right, for with the heart man believe unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. For the scripture says, whoever believes on him should not be ashamed. For there is no difference between Jew and the Greek, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that come upon him. And we know right now we are the Greek God. The Greeks were the Hellenized Jews that were living in the other lands, speaking another language. And we know that because at the top verse, he said, Paul let us know he was talking to Israel. All right. 13th verse, for whoever should call upon the name of the Lord should be saved. All right. So whoever believes in this truth and comes back to it and calls upon the Lord, that is who the Lord is going to save. All right, now I'm going to go over to Hebrews, the 10th chapter, 23rd verse. All right, all right. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promise. And let us consider one another to evoke another to love and to good works. All right. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another so much that more as ye see the day approaching. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifices for sin. So if we sin willfully, all right? And what is sin? We can precept that with 1 John, the 3rd chapter, 4th verse. Whoever committed sin transgresses also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. All right, now let's go back to Hebrews 10. All right. All right. For if we sin willfully, after that we receive knowledge of the truth, there remains no more sacrifice for sin. So we are not supposed to be breaking the law on purpose, all right? If we go off, that's not what it's saying. It's saying if you on purpose choose to break the law, like having a big pork dinner on Thanksgiving or whatever, choosing to break the law on purpose, that is what it means when it say remains no more sacrifice for sins, things that you know are wrong. I mean, if you know the correct way to keep the Sabbath and then you still choose to do it some other way, that's what it's getting into. You purposely doing things that you know are not right. When grace was here, it's because we didn't have control or didn't understand what we doing wasn't right. Liberty is for when you don't have the ability to keep the law the way it's supposed to be kept, but you know what you're supposed to do. And in your heart, you want to keep it the right way, but you just don't have the ability. That's that liberty, all right? But a certain faithful looking for of judgment and fury and indignation which shall devour the adversaries. He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. And that's why we have to have that grace. All right. Because if we didn't have grace, we all would be put to death. None of us is making it into the kingdom. All right. And we got to have liberty, because even once we learn what is correct to do, we don't have the ability to always keep the law. Like, I know when the Sabbath feels, but because of being in Babylon the Great, having to work, having to hold down your job, I can't keep the Sabbath the way it is supposed to be kept, because our Sabbath pretty much rotates to different days of the week, because it's not based off no weekday, because it wasn't no weekdays back in biblical times. On how much so promise suppose ye should he be through worthy, who had trodden underfoot the son of Yahweh, and had counted the blood of the covenant wherein he was sanctified an unholy thing, which has done despite unto the spirit of grace. So pretty much, you taking advantage of grace, you taking advantage of liberty. How's the Lord gonna feel about it? For we know him that he has said, vengeance belongs unto me. I will recompense, said the Lord. And again, and the Lord shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. All right, so it's a fearful thing to fall into the Lord's hands. All right, and I guess this ain't gonna be too long. I'm gonna end this one in Joshua. All right, the first chapter, 6th verse. All right, and probably get one more out of Joshua. Be strong and of good courage, for until this people should thou divide for inheritance the land which I swear unto the fathers to give unto them. Only be there strong and very courageous, and thou mightest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left hand, that thou mightest prosper wherein thou goest. So when the Lord said, keeping the law of Moses, it helps you to prosper. And if you turn not from it to the right or to the left, it helps you to prosper in your ways. So even though we are not under the law, we are still expected to keep this law. This is the book of the law, should not depart out of thy mouth, but thou should meditate therein day and night, and thou should might observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou should make the ways prosperous, and thou should have good success. All right, so this is how you receive that good success. Have not I commanded thee, be strong and of good courage, be not afraid, neither be dismayed, for the Lord thy power is with thee wherever thou goes. So by keeping these laws, the Lord is with us, because we showing that we appreciate and love him, because we're doing the things that are pleasing to him, even though we are not up under the law. We are up under grace. We are still choosing to do the things that are pleasing to the Lord. And we don't willfully break the law or try to do things on our will, because we got liberty. Liberty is for when you ain't got the ability to do what the law say do. That is your liberty, all right? Is not condemning you because you can't put, a certain person to death for they weird, funny ways. That's your liberty, all right? Not condemning you for that. If someone in your house is still celebrating a pagan holiday, not condemning you for not dealing with them, that's your liberty, all right? So yes, we need both grace and liberty, but that is what it's meant. It didn't mean you can just make up the law and change the law to wherever you want to, whenever you feel like it, all right? And I really don't even know how this became a thing, but like I said, the Lord would have just left you in plantation Christianity if this was the way it was meant to be done. All right. Joshua, the 24th chapter, 15th verse. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you would serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, and we know the they that were on the other side of the flood okay, or the gods of the Amorites, in which the land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And that is something you gotta remember. We dwell in Babylon the Great. We don't serve their gods, their pagan holidays. We serve our Lord, all right? And that is should be first and foremost in the heart. All right. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So if it seemed evil unto you to serve the Lord, if it seemed evil unto you to keep these commandments that the Lord wanted us to keep, even if we ain't up under them, if it seemed evil on you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you would serve, whether the God which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the God of the Amorites in which the land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Shalom.